The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaraya Productions. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Tokucast Reviews, episode number 144.
Yes.
Marcus and Jacob here to discuss Shin Ultraman.
Yes.
Which we saw in theaters this week.
Which was the wildest experience I've had in a while. Just seeing Ultraman on the big screen was pretty much everything I wanted. I'm really hoping, because it's a part of like a whole project, and they did with
because we had Shin Godzilla, which I also saw in theaters. We had this, and now Shin Kamen Rider,
and also Shin Evangelion was a part of this. So
true, and that's also finished. So
yeah, I'm really hoping that Shin Kamen Rider will also come out on the big screen, so we can go see it on the big screen.
I don't see why it wouldn't.
I will say, going into this, I like this movie.
As did I.
I thought it was quite enjoyable. There are some things that we're definitely going to talk about, just because we're not going to go over the plot. I mean, if you saw it this week, you saw it this week. Yes. Because it was out on the same day for everybody all around the world.
Yeah.
Except if you were in Japan. So
I will say, if we do, we probably will touch upon some plot spoilers because... so spoiler warning if we do.
Yeah.
Because the movie did just come out.
Yeah.
And it comes out on Blu-ray and physical media when next month?
This spring.
This spring.
Yes.
So where should we start?
God, that's sort of an odd one because we can't start in our normal place with this.
Well, it opens up and we get kind of like a revamped version of the
Shin Godzilla one.
Because we get the Shin Godzilla and then we fade into the
Ultra Q.
And then we fade into, it was like Ultra Q, then Shin Godzilla, then Ultraman.
Yeah. Something
like that. But either way, it's, it opens up with, like, the way it opens with, like, newsreel footage.
Yeah.
Of,
the SSSP.
The SSSP being formed, and there's kaiju attacking. It's like, there's a kaiju, we killed it. There's a kaiju, we killed it. There's a kaiju, we killed it. And then it just keeps on, and then we get, Flash introduced to the members of the SSSP.
Yeah.
And from there on, and then we flash forward to a current kaiju situation that is developing.
Yes.
And we have our team, they're buggered in like a strategy tent.
Yeah.
Bunch of military officials there. They've each got their computers open, and they're talking about the situation that's unfolding and what's going to happen. They get an order to evacuate. One of them notices on I think it's a drone flying over.
Yeah,
They notice a kid has been left behind.
Yeah.
And he goes off to rescue him. And that's when Ultraman lands.
Yes.
Not he's like completely gray.
Yeah, he's
gray and silver. He doesn't have his red yet because he hasn't picked his human host.
Yeah.
Which we find out later is because the human host died when he landed.
Yeah.
Essentially. And
it was Ultraman's fault.
Yeah. I mean, the kid made it out.
Yeah.
That's the important thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
Shinji Kaminaga was technically sort of is his name. I will say, just going forward a little bit, and something that I really appreciated.
And then from there, sorry, go ahead.
That they did in this, the color timer was not a sound.
Yeah, it's an actual color.
Yeah.
It's because, traditionally he'll have the gem in the center of his chest and we'll get the Pokemon low health warning. But in this one, it goes from red to green.
Yeah, red to green and then to gray again.
When he's like, his health is depleted.
Yeah. Really appreciated that because I don't think I would have liked hearing that sound.
Not out of movie theater speakers, no.
That would have been very annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah,
okay, so from then on, this movie is kind of like if you took 5 episodes of an Ultraman television series and
4 or 5
did a little bit of editing and brought them into a movie that's a little under 2 hours because your average episode of Ultraman is going to be 24 minutes.
Yeah.
And this movie is an hour 52 minutes. So yeah, it's about the length of 5 episodes.
Yeah. Just rewinding really quickly, I love the 2 interviews that we got right before the movie
we get interviews with Ultraman himself.
Yes.
With what is the actor's name?
His name is
Takumi Saito,
Yes.
who plays Shinji.
Yes.
We get an interview with him talking about how Hideaki Anno had worked with him before and how he got the role of Ultraman, and just talking about all that kind of stuff. And just like looking at this cast is like super impressive when you look at everyone's credentials.
Yes.
Takumi Saito, the thing I know him most from is 13 Assassins.
He was in that.
He was if you've seen 13 Assassins directed by Takashi Miike, he plays the son of the Lord. His wife is defiled in the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. That sets a lot of things in motion. So that's him in that many years ago. Kamen Rider Black Sun is in this.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, Hidetoshi Nishijima plays the leader of the SSSP. Mm-hmm. And I also just now realized this, like looking at his filmography, last year he was in Drive My Car.
Never saw that.
That movie was nominated for Best Picture, and it won the Academy Award for Best International Film. So seeing the range on this guy is pretty incredible.
Let's see. Who else? The guy who played Mephilas was in 01 as Arthur's dad. And the guy who played
Koji Yamamoto.
Yes, the guy who played his friend who was in the car with him before he got abducted.
Yeah.
That he's also in Dawn Brothers. Mm-hmm. As the dad.
Yeah.
There are a lot of dads.
A lot of dads.
A lot of dads.
Yamamoto, you know what really surprised me about his credits? The amount of theater work he's done. He was in Little Shop of Horrors. He played Seymour in that. He was in Les Miserables. He's been in just so much like musical theater work that he's done that I thought was really cool.
Japan's really interesting when it comes to that because a lot of their actors will not just do one thing; mm-hmm. they'll also do stage work, mm-hmm. and I really appreciate that because it brings a certain different type of gravitas to the roles that they're playing. Anyway,
and the guy who plays who voices Ultraman, his voice is laid over it, Issei Takahashi. He was in Zoo Ranger. He was Kai in Zoo Ranger.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he was also in the Studio Ghibli movie Whisper of the Heart, which I thought was pretty cool. He plays the male lead in that.
Yeah, back to the movie proper. Mm-hmm. You're right. This is 4 or 5 episodes sort of strung together, but there is a through plot
kind of like 5 mini acts. Because Act 1 is Ultraman appears. Act 2 is Ultraman is reveals himself as a defender of humanity, and we're introduced to our characters. Things are getting set up. Act 3 is Zarab, thank you. And Act 4 is Mephilas.
Yes.
And Act 5 is Zeton.
Yes. So
5 little mini acts that we all have together.
I will say probably my favorite part was just Mephilas. I really like that entire part. I love the way his actor portrayed him.
Yeah.
Where he was just slightly better than you, but it's so sinister with that undertone.
He is the way he plays him, he's very prideful of the knowledge that he has.
Yes, he also has many favorite sayings.
He has many favorite sayings and 2 least favorite sayings.
Yes.
And
the threat of it all.
Yeah.
I love it. God, he was just portrayed so well, and I think that's honestly my favorite part of this movie. Just everything with Mephilas. I like some of the stuff with Zarab, but I think that happened a little bit too quickly, since he sort of just appears.
He does just sort of appear, but his appearance is predicated by one of the biggest laughs that the movie got.
Ultra Spin?
No, not Ultra Spin. We can talk about that now. But because he has the ability to manipulate electromagnetic fields, he can control electricity and completely shut off all electronics. So he appears in the SSSP's headquarters, and he turns off all their electronics
and wipes everything.
And they think all their data's been wiped. And what is her name?
Asabi? No.
Not Hiroko. Kimio. No, that's the other guy. Yumi, thank you. 4 different names.
Yeah.
But Yumi says I want to bleep them for not giving us any backups, and they actually censor it like in the subtitles, and it's like a loud bleep you hear.
It's so good.
But then that was kind of funny. But then they pan the camera over to Taki, and in English he goes, "Me too." And I think that's the line that got the biggest laugh out of the whole.
There were a couple of
everyone.
things because I really think that the comedy in this was paced fairly well. It was like they played some things so straight.
We talked about this on the way home. The whole movie is played very straight.
Yeah,
the whole movie, it's like Shin Godzilla was this way too, where there are definitely some laughs there, and in the way that they are satirizing. Like Shin Godzilla was more of a satirization of like Japanese politics. Mm-hmm. This is more of like how certain things are run from within an organization.
Yeah, a lot of red tape.
A lot of red tape. That was definitely a thing in Shin Godzilla too. But in this one, it's like, a kaiju is destroying a city, and a character, I think it's Taki, says, "Oh man, the Prime Minister's not gonna like this."
And then he doesn't.
Minister of Economy's not gonna like this either. Oh boy, lots of destruction, lots of property damage. Oh man.
Yeah, let's put this on the Ministry of Defense so we don't have to pay for it.
That was so great. where they call, I think it's like their supervisor, the head of SSSP, and they're like, he calls him, he's like, order a bunch of bombs from the Americans because it's a kaiju that's digging underground, and then they want to bomb it with like digging charges.
There was so much like poking just the bear of the American military system, and I loved every single second of it.
I think it was less the American military system and more just like international relations as a whole.
Yeah, but America was a huge focus of that. And
in that scene especially, because it's like we are buying explosives and using stealth fighters. It's like Japan essentially had to like pull their phone out, get their Cash App out, and be like, "Dear America, 400 million trillion yen for 3 stealth bombers and a bunch of bombs."
And then they did that, and the stealth fighters were like, "All right, we did everything we could. Bye."
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, all right, we're out of bombs. Bye.
Well,
that was all of that was like all of those bombs we had. It'll take a few months to make more.
It was like, well, now what?
There is kind of a moment of just like, dang it. Well, that didn't work. Make sure the Department of Defense gets built for this, not us.
The comedy in this was so good.
But then,
I did love, because I sort of don't want to go into like break everything down.
Yeah.
I love how everything's sort of tied together, especially with Zarb sort of be a main focal point of that, showing, he can grow big, and if another one comes along, what'll happen then? And just building all up to Mephilas coming in and giving the people the beta capsule, pretty much,
which is what Ultraman uses to transform.
Yeah, the beta capsule technology in Ultraman and Zolfi. We're just like, you guys aren't really ready for this yet.
No. This is going to be misused horribly.
Yeah, and
so we're not going to let this happen. And
Zolfi was just Ultraman was just like, I'm just going to take that away.
Going to take it away and like put it in another dimension where no one can get it.
But Zolfi was just like, all right. The people at the Land of Light are just like, there are several billion of you all, and there aren't that many of us.
Well, we haven't. Have we talked about when he's introduced yet?
Zolfi?
Yeah.
No, because we haven't really talked about Hiroko either. Basically, our female lead for this movie.
Yes.
Who I really liked. Even her whole butt thing.
Yeah, she has a character quirk where to like psych herself up, she'll slap herself in the butt.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay. But
which it's to their credit, it's treated as something that is humorous, not something that is sexy.
I know,
which I think is fine.
I did really like her. I thought she was a very powerful force as the female protagonist of this movie, and I think they made sure that she was never really damselized. I'm using that as a verb
because she has to save Shinji.
Yeah,
when he gets captured by Zarab.
Yeah, she saves him pretty early on, and I love how
he does save her though a couple of times. There's the moment where because after he turns into Ultraman before he fights Zarab, and he's like holding on to her, and that what I think is admittedly a really cool shot where he like tosses her up like 1 billion feet in the air, and it's just like the camera's just focused on her as she's like flailing in slow motion, and then he catches her.
And then
gently
Ultraman and Zara as Ultraman are fighting
on the ground level. Yeah,
it's a really cool scene, followed like previewed by one of the very cool transformations.
Yeah, predicated by my favorite visual in this movie, which is when he does the rise after he's been rescued. He's gonna go fight Zarab in his big form. He does the pose. He hits the
beta
capsule, and Ultraman's hand materializes behind him, and then he rises up from the building in the rise pose.
It was a very cool
there
shot.
is a GIF of it that pretty sure we can post. So
yeah, I will say just the scenes, especially when she's big.
Yeah, because she grows giant at one point.
Through Mephilas.
By Mephilas, who is because he wants to give everyone the large beta thing, and thus cause chaos. Because his conditions for giving us this technology are, you acknowledge me as God.
Yeah.
And humanity is just like, okay.
Like we saw what didn't work against Big.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and
sure, we can do that. Yep, you're God now. Here you go.
There was a lot of political faffing about with this.
Meetings with prime ministers of, aliens visiting and shaking hands.
Yes.
And here are a list of demands I have if you would like my technology.
Yeah. Especially with Zarab. It really comes in first and foremost with him and then with Mephilas.
Yeah. Because Zarab also, he lures everyone in with this promise of like, great technology and I can help you do all these things, when in fact he's just
a bad guy.
He's just a bad guy here to kill us and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then Mephilas is like, I'm going to sow discord and chaos and I will be worshipped as a god. And then Ultraman beats him up and...
Well, actually, Ultraman almost lost.
Well, he almost did, but still.
But then, way in the background...
In a great shot...
Zoffy.
Ultraman Zoffy. Voiced by Koichi Amadera, who is in everything. If you've ever seen any anime ever, chances are you've heard him in it.
Yeah. But Zoffy's first appearance in the show, in the movie proper, is woo. It's sort of terrifying.
It's very ominous.
Yeah.
Ominous is the word I would use, because he's just... And again, seeing this on the big screen.
Yeah.
Especially shots like that, where you really get a sense of the scale that they're going for. And because we know how big Ultraman and Mephilas are, and then we just see him just kind of looming in the background, hovering above the ground.
T-posing for dominance.
He wasn't T-posing.
It's a joke.
I know.
But Mephilas is like, no.
I don't want none of this. Fine, I'll take the beta capsule and I'll leave. I won't mess with that.
It's funny because you can hear the thought process, and it's just the funniest part. Is like,
no, yeah, no,
deuces. I'm out. But yeah, Zoffy's introduction and having everything with Shinji looking at the dead body of himself.
Essentially Ultraman using Shinji as his avatar, looking at Shinji's dead body,
and it's
in the forest where they first met.
I think the thing that I sort of needed the most at the very beginning of this movie was just getting to know Shinji a little bit more, because
I know exactly how I would have shuffled it around too.
Yeah, it's like the first time you really see Shinji is when they're in the office and there are a whole bunch of books on Shinji's desk.
Yeah,
and
outside of the opening scene.
Yeah, and Shinji's just reading through them really quickly. But by that point, because it had happened after Ultraman had already landed and Shinji had died, it's just Ultraman getting a lot of knowledge. And I do love that scene. I just wish we could have gotten a little bit of the before, so the juxtaposition between, I guess, having nothing on the desk into all of the books on the desk would have been just a little bit sharper.
That's true, but we also do get that, you pointed it out as we were driving home, that scene in the library.
Yeah.
Because I didn't pick up on that when we were watching it, but yeah, you're right, because we do see him later in a library, and he's just, poring over a book, just trying to absorb whatever he can.
Yeah.
And I know how I would have fixed that issue, and I feel like the ending of this movie, it repeats itself, where we have, we have like an artistic shot of our male lead and our female lead. They're standing on the roof of a building, and they have a little heart-to-heart. She gives him a slap on the bum for motivation, quite literally, and he flies off to deal with the threat, and then he loses, he gets blasted back down to Earth. No one can find him, but he left some notes, and they use those notes to create a thing that'll help them do a thing, and that's how they are able to overcome Zeton. It's like, did you really have to do that twice? Because then again later we have to have another scene where they're on the roof having a talk, and then she wishes him well, and then it's like the same. It like hits the same beats twice in a row.
It does,
and I feel like you could have just cut down on the redundancy and maybe given us more in the beginning.
Speaking of Zeton, because Zolfi brings him in as basically a last resort just to wipe out the entire goddamn solar system. I
forget how many like teratons or whatever they say of an explosive it is. But
several.
It's enough to wipe out like everything.
Yeah. I did love the fact that Zeton was just really... He wasn't exactly a force of nature, but he was sort of up there.
It was an immovable object.
Yeah. He was the immovable object.
He was the one T-posing for authority.
I really like Zeton in this movie just as a
Gave me a lot of Ava vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was a weapon.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
I mean, it also kind of like the way, because Zolfi has like a little little capsule machine. He launches it up into the sky. It goes up into the solar system, and it just starts to like unfold in like weird and interesting ways. And it kind of looks like looks like an angel the way it's like spreading out.
It looks like the original Zeton, but
yeah,
very weird, much larger scale.
The way it's just like geometric shapes just sort of materializing and eventually folding out into this colossal being. And you look up into the sky. You look up into the sky, and that was a moment that actually kind of gave me chills. Where people were like, you look up in the sky on a clear day, and you can see that thing up there.
And they're like, let's not say anything about it because
the Prime Minister decides not to say like, yeah, this thing's gonna blow everyone up because
nothing we can do about it.
Nothing we can do. It's not like panicking is gonna help. And,
nope.
Which, a decision I kind of respect.
Yeah.
And, what can you do? We didn't have the ace in the hole at that point.
No, it's like even if we used all of the world's nukes, it still wouldn't do anything.
It wouldn't be anywhere near enough. But we get a thing that does a thing. It pulls Zeton into another dimension.
Yeah, right? It's like at the exact moment that he transformed, he would have had to fly into it.
He has to hit the beta capsule again.
And it was
at it in the right specific time. There's a countdown timer on the screen. And he has to be like within the second margin, within milliseconds of it happening.
I think it was trilliseconds at that point, actually.
Something like that. But and Ultraman gets pulled in as well. And it looks like you took an action figure and put him in a centrifuge.
I love when they do action figure shots in this movie.
It looks like if this is Ultraman, imagine him spinning around like this, just over and over again, going around into circles,
basically a black hole.
Into a black hole.
And then Zolfi comes in and basically saves him.
Yep. Because it's like, you're all right.
It's like, all right, we might have overreacted. Our bad.
Okay, so I'm thinking about what I said, and I'm sorry.
Oops.
Sorry, I almost destroyed everything
in this solar system. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go ahead and not do that. Or rather, you already did it, so we're just like, all right, we understand that there has to be something of worth for you to just go ahead and give up your life, I guess. So...
Because he offers him to come back to the planet of light. And he says, no, I want to stay here on Earth.
Yeah. I really like that. My favorite part of this movie was Ultra Spin.
Where this is the first time that Ultraman, with his red garb, after he's taken Shinji as his avatar, fighting that kaiju with the drilling into the ground.
Yeah.
So it's at a nuclear waste disposal facility.
Mm-hmm.
The kaiju is like feeding on radiation. It's going to break in there. It could create devastating damage if it gets in there. And Ultraman flies down feet first in front of it and then just starts spinning feet over hands very, very fast, moves forward and kicks the monster and it goes flying.
It is the greatest scene in this movie and I will hear no other words about it. I love it. It's so stupid. He does also spin again later when he's blocking Zeton's beam
Yeah.
into the earth.
Spinning around for deflection.
Spin for dominance.
Spinning for dominance.
Yeah, I really like this movie. I really do.
It's a good movie.
I really enjoyed myself seeing it on the big screen, hoping that Shin Kamen Rider, when that comes out, I think it's supposed to be later this year, is shown on the big screen through another Fathom events here, because I would love to see that on just the screen itself.
I would love it too. This movie, touch on box office for a little bit. This movie has done very well.
It really did.
It was made for the budget is estimated to be between 800 and 900 million yen, which is about $6 or $7 million bucks.
Yeah,
which is crazy. And it has made in dollars, its box office has equated to about 32 million. And that's like 99.999% of that is in Japan.
Yeah.
It's made like, I think 600,000 in the States.
To be fair, it was only shown for 2
maybe,
days.
maybe I think, like a little bit more in some other territories, pretty much all of that box office has come from Japan. But I mean, like, it opened at number 1 at the box office. It was number 1 2 weeks in a row. They made their budget back opening weekend, which is great. So yeah, good on them. Glad they've got a hit on their hands.
Yeah, because I really do appreciate what this movie was. But yeah,
I think that about does it.
Yeah. Let us know if you've already seen the movie. Let us know what you think about Shin Ultraman in the comments below.
And if you ever get the chance to see a Toku movie on the big screen, take it.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah. Oh, God. Please let Shin Kamen Rider do the same thing over here, because that's all I really want. Comes out during my birthday, so.
Oh, wow.
Very excited for it. Don't forget to join us at All the Things, and next time, we'll be doing Kamen Rider X. After that, we'll be doing Jekka!
Oh, no. 90% of it will be watching the Henshin sequence.
It's true. After that, because the one after that will be the one right before we do Dawn Brothers. I need to figure out exactly what we're going to do after Jekka. Because I sort of want to make it a movie, so you can catch up on Dawn Brothers.
Always appreciated.
But yeah, don't forget to join us all the things. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching.